Now, particularly for transgenderism, there is what appears, and again, I can only speak from what I can glean from a community that's very fragmented. There appears to be a motivation within the activism to homogenize men and women into one thing. And that is just not so. That is categorically wrong. It is a denial of reality, and it's harmful. It's harmful for, particularly more so for women than men. It's harmful for both men and women, but it's very harmful for women because it takes away everything that is about a woman's particularly physical form. The fact that she can reproduce children, the fact that she has a cycle, the emotional composition of a woman is different from a man because hermetically, form creates function and function creates form, and the denial of a form and what it's capable of is a denial of reality. If I took a Ferrari off-roading like I would a giant 4x4 monster truck, what are the odds the Ferrari is going to survive that off-road experience versus the monster truck? Because both of them are vehicles with four wheels, both of them transport me. And so I could say both of them are a form of transportation, but they are not the same. And in general, when you try and homogenize something, you're trying to make it all the same, you're flatlining it, meaning that there is no potential for growth, change, adaptation, better understanding. So the desire, if the desire is to homogenize men and women, that there is no difference, then that will not help humanity in any way. It won't help the person also who thinks that's correct. It's just incorrect. And the eventual fruits will be failure because there is differences in things in the world. And by the way, humanity, people, want those differences, especially within the trans community. You want the difference between men and women. It's really hard to declare that you want gender-affirming care in a community if gender doesn't matter. So if what your physicality is doesn't matter, then there would be no such thing as care that affirms the thing that didn't matter. So there's a lot of questions that need to be addressed within that community with clarity. And if the questions can only be responded to by antagonism, hatred, the various, you're phobic, you're an ist, you're a thing, then the reality is you're not ready for growth. If your argument, if your presentation, this is for anyone in the world, is so weak that you cannot, through your own discussion of the topic, address questions, that you cannot present your argument without forced compliance, then your argument probably isn't good for people, or it's probably lacking something. And so you need to go back and readdress what that argument is. And if it's misunderstood, clarify it. Get to the bottom of it. Address all the questions. One of the big issues with the trans community is, and I think this would go a long way to healing divides between people who understand what it is or think they understand what it is and people that don't. I think one of the big things that would make a huge step in the right direction within the trans community is the acknowledgement, for example, that men who identify as women should not be competing in women's sports. I don't think there is anyone that would stand against that community who felt that way. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So if you're a woman today and you take the concepts that are offered by the activists, not the people, but the activists in the trans community, that men and women are the same, then the end result is there is no women's sports. It's just men's sports. There'll be men who appear as men and say they're men. Then there'll be men who identify as women and say they're women, competing in one sport to which there is no women's category. And to me, one of the greatest denigrations of the divine feminine is trying to destroy that which makes women amazing. A huge part of our magical teachings in the mystery school of transformative capability comes from the fact that we have archetypes that are masculine and archetypes that are feminine. These archetypes hold certain understandings for us. No one is required in life to abide by whatever a gender role is. I mean, as I understand it, it means genders, roles that are traditionally belong to one sex or the other. In the terms of the mystery school, we just shrug at that because it really means nothing to us. You be who you want to be. And if you classically think that crocheting is a woman's thing and you're a man, that doesn't make you not a man because you crochet. Or if you classically think that playing sports is more of a masculine thing, more of a man's thing than a woman's thing, and you're a woman who plays sports, that also doesn't make you not a woman. So these things that are put on top of it are, to us, somewhat ridiculous that they're even being argued about, because you have the right to express yourself any way you want. However, that expression does not mean that I have to agree with it. As long as we're not, trying to harm each other in a physical way, we're calling for violence upon each other, then everyone has a right to agree or disagree with each other in any way, shape, or form that we want. And you need to be happy within yourself about who you are. And if you still need people outside of you to confirm that happiness, then you haven't healed. And so I would say my assessment of the transgender community is there's a lot of healing needed. In fact, massive amounts of healing. However, I think the direction they've chosen, or the medicine they think is going to heal them, is not the right choice. The medicine is going to have to be, the healing is going to have to come from inside. And that the community and every individual in it needs to look inside just like everyone else in the world. Because the true definition of healing is how you are going to fix what's inside of you. The outside, once you fix that, it gets to be a lot better world for everyone. And so inner peace, if you don't have inner peace, then you've got some problems you got to deal with, and it's going to start with your individual life and not any community or tribe or group that you think you belong to. The first thing you have to do is say, who are you to you? And do I love myself enough to be at peace within myself?